All right. Hello, family. How are you? How are you, Power Movers? It is our part one of our book club. We hadn't been here in a while, but I'm very excited to be here with you. And we're starting a new read together, and it's SOAR by T.D. Jakes. I have been just in awe at even the similarities of Bishop Jakes and his first exposures to entrepreneurship and how he has begun to really put a really vivid assimilation on maybe a person who's going from employee to entrepreneur, or maybe someone who was a solopreneur who's moving on to another level in their life and in their business. And just to think that right now, where we are and going through this book, there are so many people who have now had to get a major wake-up call in adjusting to that things have changed. But the beautiful thing about it is that they always have been changing, but we may not have been paying attention. And so it's very, very pivotal that I think that this book is a powerful read, a powerful journey for us to go on together, especially as the world is making a major shift. And so when if you haven't already, I want you to go ahead and get the book, because if you have not already, go ahead and get the audio. Maybe you can listen to it. Bishop Jakes definitely knows how to tell a story, and also to help you have a really clear understanding on how you can apply. He has that anointing of how you'll be able to apply how to soar in your life. Now, I know that many people are really in desperate need of real solutions and answers right now. And I believe that if you are really careful into what you ingest spiritually, emotionally, mentally, it's going to be extremely important that you're very watchful of what that is, so that it is taking you in the direction so that you can soar. So when we start to talk about, even in the introduction, talking about that you cleared for takeoff, there's so many people who are still looking for permission to their purpose. And at the end of the day, God has already positioned each and every one of us to do something greater than what we're doing now. And so the fact of the matter is that even if you've had things that you've had in the past that were successful, and it seems like it's a little rocky right now, I want you to know that God is doing a new thing, and give yourself permission to hop in God's plan as he's moving us into another direction. If you have not already realized that entrepreneurship is going to be a necessity, it's going to be extremely difficult for people to depend on others to give them their financial livelihood. And so if you understand that and you embrace it, don't fight it, because even if you fight it, it's not going to change the direction that we're going in. So we might as well become extremely, educated. We need to become extremely accepting of the situation that entrepreneurship is the way. And so I'm very excited to go on with this here and help you to understand that flying is not something new. Bishop Jakes opens up with reminding us about the Wright brothers. And we know that they were the ones who invented the airplane. The thing about it is that, many people wasn't ready for that. They wasn't ready for something new, just like what you're about to embark upon in your life, or what you currently are. If you're a new entrepreneur or you're having success for the first time. And I love how the whole storyline of helping you understand what entrepreneurship is already. But the thing is that you were built for it. You see, Bishop Jakes shares his story about, even his dad, who was a great person who brought the bacon home. And he pretty much said, like, my dad definitely hustled. He made sure that he used what he had in his hand, like Moses. He used what he had in his hand, but he didn't understand the concept of scaling or growing or keep going. And this is one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of people make, especially if you're a new or an aspiring entrepreneur, is that we get started and we start seeing some success, and then now we want to hustle it versus us go to the next level, versus us identifying ways that we can go to the next level, or more importantly, making sure that the vision is already planned, that the next level is already the goal, and then we reverse engineer and we work every day to get to that goal. And so I need you to understand that whether this is your first time being an entrepreneur, whether this is your first time even, saying, you know what, I'm going to take entrepreneurship seriously, because maybe you have been one that you had your pinky toe, or maybe you said, hey, it might be great to be a business owner. But think about how powerful it would be for you to start taking ownership of, I need to own the direction of my fate, my family. And so as he's discussing how you can defy gravity and understanding that that's kind of overcoming fear. Fear will try to hold you back. Your past will try to hold you back. Even your, friends or even family will try to hold you back because it's safe down here. But that's not where you need to go. You need to get over the butterflies in the belly and say, it's my time to soar. I want you to say that with me. It's my time to soar. But the thing is that you going on to a soar, it's some stuff you got to go through first. So at the end of the day, you could dream all day long. You can have the lofty, vivid conversations about what you gonna do, but you're gonna have to start doing. And so we start talking about getting your vision off the ground. It's going to require some process. It's not uncommon to have some doubts. It's not uncommon to even have the fear, but you can't let it keep you on the ground. So it's important that you connect with people that is going to help you to keep going no matter what. Bishop Jason is going to share his experiences, and along the way, I'll share mine, and I want you to share yours, because everyone is at different places, and they're also going to move at different paces. But what's important is that the ending goal is in mind. So you need to think about learning and being able to pay attention to the signs. Catch the vision of your destination. Where do you want to go? What do you ultimately, if everything were to work out exactly the way you would want it to, what would your life look like when you can say, we know we're after God to say, well done, that good and faithful servant. But what about you being able to pat yourself on the back after the hard work is done? What would you like that to look like? Would you like it to be that you've made major contribution to the world? Or maybe don't let anybody tell you that it's small if you just want to make a major contribution to your next generation. But you got to think about, you got to get this vision off the ground. Many times we stay in the mode of get ready, get set with all the busy work. Yes, we're going to do the research. Yes, we're going to know what we're doing, where we're going. But sometimes you got to be comfortable with the unknown, because that's the only way you'll grow. I've been there. And trying to say, what do I want to do? I've been there and saying, well, what I offer, do anybody really want to hear about that? So I get it, but I'm here to let you know that everybody has something to contribute. And so you got to think about what kind of problems do you see? Let me tell you why this is important. Because you might see something as a problem or something that irks you, and someone else may not even see that problem. Do you know that sometimes that is an indication that's a problem that you are supposed to solve? I remember Dr. Monroe sharing with me that you would know that what your purpose is sometimes is connected to whatever your pain is. There's a problem that you know intimately that you could say, this is a huge problem. And this is the solution. Have you ever seen that before, where someone is standing and they're like scratching their head as to, oh my gosh, this big one. And then somebody come up and say, oh, that's all you got to do. Let me give you a little example of that. This is a little secret about me. I've shared it before, but I can share it again. When I set out to start to build my empire, I wanted to create my first $1 million. I got a mentor. And my first millionaire mentor told me the first thing I needed to do is that if I'm not earning, I think it was either he said $20,000 a month or something like that, that I didn't deserve to own a TV. So for a while, I just continued to read books. And now I still love to read books. But he says, you need to read. Leaders are readers. I don't know, my mentors were not always so sweet and nice and say things so sweet and nice. So I'm like, okay, so I'm reading and everything. And all I remember, and it wasn't like he was harsh or mean, but it was just blunt. And he said something to me like, rich people have libraries. You need to read. So I went to go visit him in his hometown, and he took us to a bookstore, and we were able to buy all these amazing books. And he says, you want to become wealthy, solve a problem. And I'm like, there's a ton of problems. And the thing is he says, you know, what kind of problem do you feel that you're the one that's called to solve it? And I'm like, well, there are a lot of problems out there. And the first thing you're going to think about is it's already been done. But this is what I found out. It may have already been done, but it wasn't done by you. So it ain't the same thing. This is the hesitancy that a lot of people have, because they start trying to measure themselves up to somebody else, and they never take the time to be able to dig deep to find out what they're passionate about, because they're figuring out or downplaying what's important to them that may be important to somebody else, meaning that there's somebody that's waiting on you to solve their problem. So once you identify the problem, you got to dig a little bit deeper, because if you're not passionate about it, you won't continue to go through the process. When you go to do things that's only about to make the money and you can't attach a purpose, you're going to quit. You're going to faint. The industry that I'm in with network marketing, I see a lot of people quit because they just want to make the money. They don't really want to help the people, or they're not passionate maybe about the product or the service, or they don't even really have a belief that they're really solving a problem. Like, I am the connection. I'm the hookup between you and the relief of your problem. When you can identify with something like that, now you'll be willing to build the wings and start turning your dream into a flying machine. Now, that means being resourceful. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you got to start looking at the glass as half full versus half empty. Mind you, if you are always looking at the glass as half empty, you're always in need. If you're always in need, you can't be solving a problem. You need your problem solved. So you got to come out of the victim mentality and move into a place where I am a victor. I am a problem solver. I am your answer. And so when you start thinking about that, you got to know that things are not always going to be all together. And that gives you an assignment. If everything is always together, then what are you needed for? So now you want to start looking for obstacles. Tony Robbins always say the obstacle is the way. The thing that you're trying to avoid is exactly what you got to do. And so I need you to think about this. Just because it has been done before don't mean it can't be done better, or don't mean it can't be innovated. A prime example. How many of us, I don't know, when I was with my grandma, bless her soul. My grandma, I told a story once before about my grandma. The only phone in the house was in the kitchen. On the wall, it looked almost like a phone booth. It was just on the wall because she put it there with no chair, nothing to sit, so you could get off that phone. You got on the phone and you say what you got to say and you get off the phone. Now think about it. Can that have been innovated? By the time my mom got a new home for us, she used to have a phone in the kitchen too, but when now she moved, she had a phone in her bedroom next to on her nightstand. So now you could sit or lay in the bed and be on the phone. My grandma thought that was fancy. So it went from the phone just being on the wall to the phone where it also could lay on the nightstand. Then now we went on and time went on, and then my uncle, who owned a bar and everything, he had a Mercedes, and inside of it, they were like, it's a phone in the car. I can remember as a little girl, and they like, Uncle Benny got a phone in the car. And we couldn't wait because, he ran about. We couldn't wait for him to come home. And I remember on a Sunday morning, I spent the night at grandma's house, and I went downstairs because my grandma had a duplex, and he was on the bottom level and she was on the top level. So I went down, I knocked on the door like, I will see, can I see the car phone? He said, well, your uncle is asleep and the car is in the garage and all this stuff. And I was like, I want to see the car phone. And I'm like, wow, car phone. Oh my gosh. And then that was big. Then now you went on to, you had some beepers. You look at the phone number, you know the phone number. Whoa. Only doctors have beepers, right? What I'm giving you is that now here we are where you have babies who know how to use iPads and cell phones better than their parents. Can you agree? So that means that when you start looking at the person who might have started the phone to now Apple or Droid and what they've done, they just innovated something that already was in place. What do you see that may have a lot of potential, but you can make it better? Maybe an organization. Maybe you have a gift and you're like, hey, you're doing something within your organization and this is making things more proficient, more efficient, but you're sharing because you think nobody wants to hear from you. What I want you to think about is that you have to build your wings. And then now you have to do that so you can build and bind and board this new venture. You gotta move. What I found is as an entrepreneur, moving from that overworked hairstylist to a business owner, organizing things and building things and creating curriculums and all these other kind of things. All I knew how to do before was put a few conditioners together that may have, you say, okay, this conditioner, have this component, that conditioner have that component. I do a hybrid and get a better result. But if I listened to everyone around me and I would have told them, hey, I want to run a multi-million-dollar business or I'm going to be a billionaire, they would think that it is just straight up girl, you dreaming. And so you need to think about this for a moment. Expect volatility. Don't let nobody tell you that you can't do it. When you start building a business, sometimes it seems like a tough start, then you now finally get up in the air. And now when you in the air for a little bit, you start having some success. Maybe you get promoted, maybe your business start growing, and then now here come turbulence. Don't turn back. Think about if you've ever taken a flight. Sometimes the pilot got to wait in line. They thought they'd be able to take off immediately. And sometimes they got to wait in line before it's their time for takeoff. And they say, they say, hey, we're number 3, we're number 4, we're number 5. The pilot don't say, I'm going to get out of line. We turn it back, crew. We turn it back to the passengers. They keep going. Then now when you get up in the air, and you up in the air and they say, okay, we take off, and it's, and then now you take off and your stomach start feeling like it fall back. I used to have to hold my breath. Then now when you get up in the air and then now they kind of stabilize it, and now you're kind of moving through the clouds. You're like, I can't see anything. If you're your first time flying, you're like, I can't see anything. I can't see anything. You want to close your eyes. I don't want to see this. And then now you're way up and no longer can you see the buildings that were familiar to you, maybe your hometown, maybe your friends. No longer can you see, familiarity. Now, you're up, and maybe now if you're going cross country and you're looking down, you like, what's that state? I've never visited that place before. What's that? I never did that before. But once you keep doing it, you relax a little bit. And you say, I'm just on this for the ride. At what point are you going to start to say, in order for me to soar, I got to relax through the bumps? Because it's about my destination. You being able to relax through the bumps and keep going is going to make the ultimate difference if you're successful or not. And I'm telling you right now, entrepreneurship is the way. When we start talking about you identifying where and what and making sure you're up to speed and you do your research, and the next time we talk, I want you to read ahead. And I want you to know that it's going to require those, if you don't just want to survive this downturn in the economy and you want to move into the next level, and you don't just want your dreams to die, including your bank account, you are going to have to decide to soar. You will not be able to stay on the ground and survive in this season. Those who ignore all the signs that jobs are getting thin, they don't want to adapt to the new way or new conditions. They're whining, moaning, and groaning about everything that's different instead of embracing the new, and be left behind. Yep. You got to boldly go forward. I don't consider this bad news. I think it's good news. Because honestly, it was getting boring. The whole 95% economic gap. How else were we going to change this until people get to move at the pace they want to? How else would that change it where they haven't moved minimum wage in God knows how long, but inflation keep making everything more expensive? How else was it going to close the economic gap unless people begin to be owners? So this is what I want you to do. I want you to continue to read on. I'm not telling you to go look for jobs, but I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to tell you not to look for a job, but I'm going to tell you it's going to take a whole long time for you to find a good one. So why not take that time to start preparing your flight to take off? In the meantime, between time, you say, I got to put food on the table. Have you seen the prices of food lately? Have you seen how the dollar is running short? So even what $20 worth of grocery was purchasing even 7 months ago, you get nearly nil now. So I want you buckle up, just like Bishop Jake says. It's a pivotal moment where you get to make a decision. You're getting now to write your story for real, for real. Now you got a ride or die coach with you that say no dream is too small. And definitely saying no dream is too big. This is definitely the setup for the come up. SOAR is going to be an amazing thing. I want you to go ahead and keep reading. Set your time up. If you're not using our 888 cash calendar, Power Moves journal, they're on flight. They're on the way. I'm going to put the video back there. You can see all of them, thousands of them. Your personal development time should already be in place. And we're going to soar together. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for you. For those who decide not to stay on the ground. Right? Part 1, SOAR, TD Jakes. See you soon.